asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness unto light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Om. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurti Namaha. So the teaching of Vedanta is complete. What Shankaracharya wanted to teach in Vedanta is complete in 4 verses. Tattvamasi has been explained. What is knowledge and what is enlightenment has been explained or has been taught. Now, any good philosopher has to do 2 things. One is prove your case and cut down opposite views. Show that your view is tenable, justifiable, reasonable, and show that opposing views are unreasonable. What Shankaracharya has now given is the Advaita view, the non-dual view of the self. But there are many other views of the self. So, like any good philosopher, Shankaracharya will now proceed in verses 5 and 6 to select a sampling of the major views about the self, which are against non-dualism, and then cut them down. That is verse number 5, number 6. Like a lawyer always has to prove. They have to prove their own case and to disprove the opponent's case. The flag is flying. Yes, it's a breezy day. So, the flag is flying. That reminds me, there was this monastery and there were monks there. On top of the monastery there was the flag. And some monks were sitting outside and talking, and the flag was flying, moving in the air, in the breeze. So the youngest monk said, look, the flag is moving. And then a senior monk, to show off his knowledge, he said, no, more subtle, the wind is moving. Then the more senior monk was sitting next to them. He said, no, the mind is moving. Oh, that's so profound. And then there was a senior monk who was trying to sleep upstairs. He looked down from the window and he said, no, the tongues are moving too much. Too much talking. In ancient India, there were 3 kinds of debate or philosophical discourse. Vada, Jalpa, Vitanda. Vada, Jalpa, Vitanda. 3 kinds of discourse. And in modern days, we can learn a lot from them, the way they would conduct debate. Vada was the best form of debate. What does it mean? Tattva bubhutsu katha, the discourse between those who are intent on discovering the truth. Those who want to know the truth. The discussion between them, questions, answers, arguments, that is called Vada. Advaita Vada, Vishishta Advaita Vada, this is Vada. This is the best form of debate. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Pravadatam Vadoaham, I am Vada among those who discuss or debate, in 10th chapter of the Gita. Then the second kind of debate was Jalpa. Jalpa is Vijigisha, the desire to win. So, swapaksha sthapanam parapaksha dushanam, to establish your own case and to cut down the opponent. Notice, the truth has somehow slipped through. So, lawyers are often told by their cynical seniors, law is not about the truth, it's about the law. So, truth has slipped through somehow. It's now become, you must win your case and defeat the other person. That is called Jalpa. Third one, is the vitanda, where I have no case of my own, but whatever you say is wrong. I'll cut down whatever you say. So that is called vitanda. That might sound horrible, but some of the most sophisticated Advaitins, some of the most sophisticated philosophers were Vaitandins. Sri Harsha, for example. Their case was that our position is so self-evident that all confusions just have to be cleared away. Then it will be very clear that you are Brahman. You don't even have to prove your own case. Every other case is a mistake, is an error. So examples are Sri Harsha among the Advaitins, the entire school of Madhyamaka, Shunyavad, emptiness people. Their whole approach is what is called Chatushkoti Vinirmukta Tattvam. If you say something exists, we'll get into that later on. So anyway, what Shankaracharya is doing here is Vadaha. He has put forth a thesis, you are the non-dual Brahman, and is discussing possible alternatives. All right. Verse number 5. Deham pranamapi indriyanyapi chalam buddhim cha shunyam viduhu stri balandha jadaupama swahamiti bhranta bhrisham vadinah maya shakti vilasa kalpita mahavyamoha samharine tasmai shri gurumurtaye namaidam shri dakshinamurtaye. Those who contend that the ego is the body, that the self, let's not say ego, the self is the body, or the vital forces, or the sense organs, or the fickle ticks may not come in, leaves may come in. Let's see. Or the fickle buddhi, or the void, they are verily on the same level with women and children, with the blind and the possessed. They are quite deluded. To him who destroys the mighty delusion set up by the play of Maya's power, to him who is incarnate in the teacher, to him who is the effulgent form facing the south, to him Shiva be this salutation. So there are multiple other views about the self. Why are there multiple other views about the self? The Upanishads reveal it. Here is Shankaracharya giving us Dakshinamurti Stotram. The problem is not in the teaching. The problem is not in the self, which is non-dual. The problem is not in the teaching. But then one more factor is there, the mind. The problem is in the mind. Now he gives examples, but you should not take it as anti-women or anti-children or what is called differently able. So he is talking about, he'll get into trouble these days by saying such things. I'll tell. Stree, women, bala, children, andha, the blind, jada, the dumb, the plain dumb. So these are examples. He says upama. You're not actually they don't mean children or women. There are so many great women, Vedantists from the most ancient times also. The first fully enlightened being was a woman, Vak Amrini. And there was Gargi and Maitri and many others. And often there would clearly be many others whom we do not know about. Because it was the men who went around writing books and conducting debates and all. It's not that the women were not practicing and becoming enlightened. There were many, many, many. There's a cute story about one of the important texts of Advaita, later Advaita Vedanta, called Vedanta Paribhasha. Vedanta Paribhasha. It's written by, about not long ago, or 400 years back, by Dharmaraja Adhwarendra. So, the epistemology which I talked about, that's discussed in great detail in the Vedanta Paribhasha. But the story goes, this is stories from the Pandits, the oral tradition. Story goes, he was actually a Nyaya Pandit, quite opposed to Vedanta. But his wife was a Vedantin, non-dualist. So his wife made him write a Vedantic text. And that's why in this masterpiece of Vedanta, he has sneaked in some Nyaya views. Because some traditional Vedantis have objections to what he has written in this. And the result, because he was basically a Nyaya philosopher, but under pressure from his better half, he wrote this, which means she, and there might be many others who were practicing, who were enlightened also. So, what is meant here? Example. Example of what? So, three here stands for four kinds of problems. Three here stands for emotional nature. Emotional nature, a mind overwhelmed with emotions. Bala stands for childish intellect, immature intellect. Then Andha stands for a blind intellect. And then Jada stands for an obstructed or undeveloped intellect. What does it mean, emotional nature? This path of knowledge will work only when you operate on knowledge. You gain knowledge and then live on that knowledge. Reality is revealed by knowledge, not by feelings. I feel in such a way and then that becomes my reality. No, it cannot be. Feeling this way or feeling that way can change from person to person. Shankaracharya makes a distinction between Purusha Tantra and Vastu Tantra. Your whole philosophy is based on reality, Vastu, what is. Or is it based on opinion? So religions are often opinions, paths. But Vedanta claims to be a depiction of reality as it is. Reality as it is can only be revealed by pramana, source of knowledge. What is revealed by pramana, source of knowledge, doesn't care for how I feel. This is a bell. Whatever I feel about it has nothing to do with it. It's a bell revealed to me by my sight and by my sound. After that, it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, what I feel about it, what my opinion is about it. This is a table. It's revealed to me by my sight. Whether it's my table, I like this table, or I think it's not a table, it's a rocket ship, it doesn't matter. You can imagine it to be anything, you can feel anything, doesn't matter. Pramana will reveal Vastu, reality. To be based on reality and to operate from reality, which means to be based on pramana, on source of knowledge, not on feeling. So to be a philosopher, one must be ruthless about feelings. I like it, therefore it must be so. I want it, therefore it must be so. No. The danger of basing yourself, I feel strongly about it, so it must be so. The danger of that is, I feel strongly about it. And if you go along with me, you are the greater fool, because tomorrow I may feel strongly about something else. But my pramana will show me, my ears will tell me it's a bell, my eyes will show me it's a table. Regardless of how I feel. It will show me today, it will show me tomorrow. So, what is revealed by pramana does not change. But what is my emotional grasp on things will change according to my emotions. We should not go on emotions, especially in Vedanta, in the path of knowledge. It's nice if you like Vedanta, but if you want it to be true, that also is confirmation bias. I want it to be true, therefore look at the opposite points of view, which we will see now. Consider them well and see why you should accept or reject them. Don't be emotional about it. Just because I like Vedanta, it has to be true. People sometimes, see, there are two kinds. One has objection to Vedanta, resistance to Vedanta. They'll always say, yes, but. The other one is, why not? They're so enthusiastic about Vedanta. Why do other people don't accept Vedanta? It is so clear, it's so wonderful. It is clear and wonderful to you. Just because you have not met some of the sharper logicians. If you meet some of those Nayayikas and talk with them, they will clear your mind of all Vedanta. They will convince you of the truth of Nyaya or materialism or something. No, that's so neither you're for or against, that will not work if it's based on feelings. It must be based on reason and experience. Vedanta, the method of Vedanta is Shruti Yukti Anubhuti. Shruti is the Upanishad. It's the pointer to the reality which we cannot grasp yet. The rishis have grasped it. They're showing us the way. But it must be supported by reason. It cannot be irrational. My intellect may not be able to reach it by reasoning, but it should sign off on it, that it's at least not irrational. It's possible. It will stop reasoning before enlightenment. But up to enlightenment, it must reason. It must be logical throughout. There must not be anything illogical about it. And then third one is experience. It must match my experience. It must match my experience. And that's more difficult for Vedanta. For mystical paths, at least, I have a vision, Sri Ramakrishna. I see Ma Kali. So my experience matches the fact that Ma Kali is real. That shows me it's real. What Vedanta wants us to do is even more remarkable. Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. Anubhanam, this world, experience of the world as we see it, this itself shows Brahman is real. We have to change our orientation so much that while seeing, hearing, smelling, talking, engaging with the world, we say it is Brahman, Brahman, Brahman. Such a huge change in our understanding must come. So that's why emotional nature will not work. In bhakti it works, but even in bhakti our general unresolved emotions do not work. It will become sentimentalism. It will not take you far. At one moment full of devotion, singing and dancing, next moment cursing, angry, irritated, greedy. So it will not, it's unresolved emotion. Fully joyous, devotional, oh, I'm full of joy and bliss, thinking about God. And then very critical, very unhappy, quarreling, again full of devotion, thinking about. That is unresolved emotions. In bhakti also, those emotions have to be purified and direct focused. First, purify the emotions, turn it all into I want, I love God. And then focus it. God, it should be all about God. Not a little bit about God and a little bit about everybody else. So in bhakti also, the resolution and purification of emotion is necessary. And so also in jnana. In that sense, three. Only in the sense as an example of emotional nature. Bala, child. Children. Now, children can be quite sharp, but they are also immature. One person wrote to me that my 14-year-old daughter is saying to me that why do you want to overcome suffering and attain bliss? Vedanta, goal. Why? The world gives you happiness, you are accepting it without complaint. The world gives you suffering, you accept it without complaint. Accept both. Why do you want to overcome suffering and attain happiness? And the gentleman wrote to me saying, I don't know what to answer. I said, she is 14. She doesn't know what suffering is. And let's hope that she never finds out. But human life has a way of teaching. Such serious shocks, terrible shocks are there. Physical illness, worse than that illness of a near and dear one. Loss, grief, disappointment, frustration. Janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanudarshanam. Krishna says, etad jnanam iti proktam. Ajnanam yadato anyatha. Birth, old age, disease, death. Pondering on and understanding and insight into how they are sorrow. They are unhappiness, they are sorrow, they are misery. This insight, this grasp on the misery that is life, unavoidable in life. He says, this is jnana, this is knowledge. I am Brahman, that comes later. To turn away from this is immature. Now the child is intelligent, there's no doubt about it. I'm sure his daughter is very intelligent, bright. But time is also necessary. Time is also necessary. Vedanta, they say, any kind of teaching, there is traditional shloka which says, how do you learn? It says, one, you learn from the guru. Second, you learn from your classmates by arguing, discussing. Third, you learn from your own thinking. But fourth, only in time. You have to give it time. It will mature. It will become, it will blossom in time. So immature mind. I remember we were reading this wonderful philosopher who was given as reading to us in a course at Harvard University. This philosopher is Simone Weil. There's a book, Waiting for God. She was this young Jewish lady. Have you heard of the other Simone de Beauvoir, who was an existentialist? They were classmates or schoolmates, basically. One was atheist and Simone Weil was very spiritual. Simone Weil was very spiritual. She wrote this book, Waiting for God. Anyway, very interesting book. Now at the discussion session, We sat, she died young. She literally starved herself to death. Because the Nazis had occupied France, and she escaped from France to England, and she got reports of how her countrymen, her people in her country were starving. They had hardly anything to eat. It was a lot of deprivation was there, and of course a lot of oppression under the Nazi rule. So in sympathy with her countrymen, she started reducing her food. She started eating less and less and less. She was hospitalized. And our professor, Stephanie Paulsell, she said her father knew the doctor who treated Simone Weil. And the doctor said, I have never had a more obstinate patient. She just refused to eat. And it's very touching. In the book she says, towards the end of her life, she had these dreams, dreams of Jesus coming and telling her, it's so touching, come, sit, eat. Of course, it's her own hunger, maybe you might say, that is coming out in those forms, but it's so touching to see that. And she died. She refused to eat. And she died like that. The book is very, very inspiring. But in the discussion session, the professor asked, so what did you think? And I said, she was young. And others in the class burst out laughing and said, yes. So there is a lot that is wonderful in that book, lot that is inspiring, lot also, anybody who's a little mature will smile at it. It would remind you of your teenage years or your early 20s, maybe, that's it. You grow out of it. So it's a mixture of real potential, but with immaturity also. Bala, immature mind. That will also not work here. Then the third one is Andha, very bright mind, but without the help of the Upanishads, without the help of these pointers, without the help of Dakshinamurti Stotra. Can I sit? I'm very bright. I can argue my way to enlightenment. I can generate many arguments and reach enlightenment. No. Every argument has a counter-argument. Today you come to a conclusion, a brighter mind will cut down all your arguments tomorrow. Tarkat apratishthana. There is a saying in Sutra. It says, there is no firm ground to argumentation. To reasoning, you will never reach firm ground through reasoning. So without the help of the pointer, somebody has reached the truth and is showing you the way. Without that, blind. Reason is blind. It can't reach. It can give you arguments for Vedanta, it can give you arguments against Vedanta. But that's it. Then finally, Jada. I don't get it. What are you talking about? So that can't be helped. It takes time. It takes tapasya. For that person, the Guru will say, all right, go to the Goshala, look after the cows. Come back after 1 year. Come back after 1 year, a little more mature, a little more steady. Then, now you go and meditate. Do 10,000 japa per day, anushthanam, internal meditation. Then you come back, person has become mature, mind has become pure and concentrated. Then tattvamasi. Then it will work. So these are the problems. And what is the consequence? All these other philosophies come up. What do they say? Such people, some say, I am the body. Yes, self, I am there, but body is the self. That's all. What else is there? Some will say, the prana is the self. Some will say, mind is the self. Some will say, intellect is the self. Some will say, there's no self, it's empty. So multiple viewpoints are there. They're different philosophers. There's the common man on the street, and there are more and more sophisticated views propounded by multiple schools of philosophy. So they all have to be replied to. You have to take their arguments seriously and give your counter-arguments. Here Shankaracharya in the 5th verse, he just says they are all deluded by the great power of Maya. And then he says those ones deluded by the power of Maya, their minds obstructed by emotion, by blindness, by immaturity, by just plain incomprehension. And they think, these ones who think that I am the body, I am the prana, I am the mind, or I am the intellect, or I am basically body-mind complex. That one is the same one who appears as my Guru, who is not confused, who is illumined, is the same one who is Dakshinamurti. I bow down to them. Now, What could be the refutations of these schools? What I'll do in the next few minutes, I'm going to take you on a high-speed tour of Indian philosophy. For this, I will use another text, Vedanta Sara. Why this text? Because it refers to what Shankaracharya said here, but Shankaracharya does not engage in any counter-arguments. He just says, I bow down to them. They are Dakshinamurti in that form. In the form of the Nayayika, in the form of the Charvaka, in the form of the Buddhist, they are all Dakshinamurti. I bow down to them. What is the argument? What is the counter-argument? In this text, Vedanta Sara, there is a chapter, chapter 3, on the various views about the self, which are not this view. And what are the possible arguments for and against? The way it is presented, it's a very stylistic presentation. What's the style of presentation? Each opponent comes forward. There are 9 opponents in all. The common man on the street, not a philosopher, just common sense. Then the second one is the gross materialist, Charvaka, the Atmavad, who says, I am the body. Third is the materialist who says, I am the sense organs, sensory system in the body. Fourth one is the materialist who says, no, I am life itself, I am the living body. And the fifth one who says, I am the mind. They're all materialists. 5 opponents, all materialists. Then the 4 materialists and 1 common man on the street. Then the 6th one is the Buddhist who says, I am flashes of cognition, buddhi, the mind-only school of Buddhism. Then the 7th one comes the emptiness school of Buddhism, which says, self is not there, it's void, it's empty, shunyam. Then the 8th one comes, who is the Mimamsaka, Purva Mimamsaka school, represented by Prabhakara, one of those masters, who will say, I am it's not empty, it's blankness, it's Anandamaya Kosha, what you find in deep sleep. I am that. The darkness, the deep sleep darkness, that is the final state of the self, actual state of the self. And then the last one, Kumarila Bhatta, is it the 10th one? 9th one. 9th one, Kumarila Bhatta, another school of Mimamsa, who gives a variation of that view. Anandamaya Kosha, illumined by consciousness. That is my real nature. 9 views, all against Vedanta. All will they present their case in which way? The method in Vedanta is Shruti, Yukti, Anubhuti. First you must quote which Upanishad are you following. Now the materialist who does not believe in the Upanishads, the Buddhist who does not believe in the Upanishads will quote. Not that they believe in all that, but they are quoting it because we believe in it. So they are quoting it back to us. See, your Upanishad says this. And therefore, so Shruti, Upanishad, what is your scriptural basis for your view? 1. And I'll quote from your scripture so that you will be convinced. 2nd, Yukti, reason. What's the reason you give for your view of the self? 3rd, Anubhuti. Match it with experience. Show me an experience that what you say is reasonable. I can see it in my own experience. Shruti, the text. Yukti, the reason. Anubhuti, the experience. Each will quote. Now I will quickly cruise through all of them. Details, if you want, you get to go back to the class on Vedanta Sara, which is there available online, this particular class. Chapter 3 of Vedanta Sara. I'm just running through at my own speed. Just listen carefully and that's it. I have no explanation, no time for explanations. Ati prakritastu atma vaijayate putraha ityadi shrutehe swasminniva putre api prema darshanat putre nashte putre pushte nashte va chahameva pushto nashta cha ityadi anubhavat putra atma iti vadati. The common man on the street is so enamored of his children. He says, I am the child. The son is verily I, me, myself. I am the child. Why? The Upanishad says, Putra vai atma jayate. The self is reborn as your offspring. He's quoting from from the Upanishads. Then second, the example, the argument. We have tremendous love for ourselves, but you see the even more love for the child. So one can give up sacrifice for the sake of the children. And therefore, the love which is supposed to be for the self, you see that in the child, therefore the child is the self. This is a kind of argument. And what about experience? Putre pushte nashte cha ahameva pushta nashtascha. When things are happening for the child, things are going well, I feel great. When things are going badly for the child, I feel awful. When parents suffer along with the enjoy and suffer along with the child. A child's accomplishment, you 10 times magnified for mother and father. Child's failure or child's trouble, the mother and father suffer terribly, more than the child maybe. I remember it's so touching. As monks, we have to perform our own shraddha. That means the funeral ceremonies which are performed at the death of an ancestor, grandparents, parents. Monks have to perform that before becoming a monk. You have to perform it for your ancestors, for your parents, even if they're living. It can be very shocking for the parents because it's only done when you're dead. But you perform it while they're living because after becoming a monk, you can't perform it anymore. You have no right to do that. You lose all rights to Vedic ritualism. And then you have to perform the shraddha for yourself. So that whole ceremony, I still remember one part. There's a whole series of mantras for the mother, only one mantra for the father. Whole series of mantras, verses for the mother, including one very touching verse which says, when my young body as a child was racked by fever, you who suffered along with me more than me. As a helpless mother sitting with the sick child. To that mother I make these offerings like this. So every mother has had that experience and every child has had that experience. Only children are not aware of how much parents suffer for them. So that is an pointing to experience. You suffer along with the child, it's like your own self. Therefore the child is the self. Then comes the materialist who says, no, body is the self. Charvakastu sava esha purusho annarasamayah ityadi shrutehe pradipta grihat swaputram parityajyapi swasya nirgama darshanat sthuloham krishoham ityadi anubhavatcha sthula shariram atmeti vadati. The Charvaka, the materialist, comes and says, no, child is not the self. Body is the self. The Atma is body. Why? There in the Upanishad, it is said, Annarasamayaha, the body is born of the essence of food. What does it refer to? Physical body is the self. Your Upanishad says this. Now, why do the Upanishad say these things? Remember, you have to take the Upanishad as a whole. It starts with body as the self, then takes your attention to prana as the self, then takes your attention to mind as the self, like that, step by step, to intellect, to the causal body, then to the Atma itself. But if you just take body is the self and say, see, Upanishad said body is the self, done, you are defeated. So, he quotes that. Body is the self. Your own Upanishad says. Then argument. Son is not the self, child is not the self. Because we see from a burning house, one has abandoned the child and run away to save oneself. Might have. Sometimes it happens. There was a very disturbing video of a burning building in Gaza, and a man who ran away, who saved one or two of his children, but the last child who was in the hospital, he could see the child burning, but he's shouting from outside, I'm sorry, I can't do anything for you. It's too hot, he can't go inside to save his child. So, you're running away from a burning building to save yourself, but you can't save the child. That shows the self is the body, not the child. A gruesome example. This is the argument. And experience, krishoham, sthuloham, I am skinny, I am obese, I need to lose weight. Body is obese, body needs to lose weight. You're saying, I am obese. That means you're identified with the body. For you, self is body. If you said, the body needs to lose weight, that's perfectly all right. But if you say, I need to lose weight, you are saying that the self is body. So, Shruti Yukti Anubhuti, body is the self. Then, another materialist comes. Aparas charvaka teha prana prajapatim pitaram etyuchu ityadi shruter indriyanam abhave sharira chalana bhavat Kanoaham badhiroham ityadi anubhavacha indriyani atmeti vadati. Another set of materialists comes and says, not the body. It is the sensory system, eyes, ears, the power of working, motion. It is the active, dynamic, alive body which is the self. Otherwise, one can slowly lose contact with, say, a paralyzed limb, for example. One has no sensation left in it. So it's only when the nervous system is working, when I can see, hear, I can walk around, talk, the sensory system, 5 organs of action, 5 organs of sense, together this constitutes the self. And he quotes from the Upanishad and then gives the argument. When the senses are not active, motor organs and sensory organs, the body is just like another object. Consider a paralyzed limb. It's like an object. You can't feel anything, you can't control it, it's just there. Our identification continues with it. After some time, it doesn't. There's no feeling left in it. No sense of identification. Slowly, we withdraw the sense of self from it. Then, experience. I am deaf. I am blind. The eye is blind. Why are you saying I am blind? So, you're identified with the sensory system. Therefore, the sensory system is the self. Then comes the third Charvaka, materialist. Aparas Charvakaha Anyantaratma Pranamayaha Ityadi Shrute Pranabhava Indriyanadi Chalana Yogad Aham Mashanayavan Aham Pipasavan Ityadi Anubhavacha Prana Atma Iti Vadati. No, it's not the body, it's not the sensory system, it is life itself. It's the living body which is the self. These are all logical arguments. You can see how it's being refined. And he gives a quotation from the Upanishad saying Pranamaya Kosha is the self. Prana. Without the life force, none of your so-called sensory systems will work. Dead body, all sense mechanism is there. Nerves are there, sense organs are there, nothing is happening. So it is, the argument is with the prana alone, this body-mind mechanism works, and therefore prana is the self. And what is the anubhava experience? I am hungry. We are going to eat very soon. And hunger and anger are connected. Hangry. Have you heard of the new word? If you are hungry, then you feel more irritated. But notice, you did not say prana is hungry. You say I am hungry. So you have identified with the prana. Prana is self. Then the last Charvaka comes. Anyastu Charvaka. Charvaka means materialist. The most refined materialist comes. He says, not body, not prana, not the sensory system. It is mind. I am a person. I'm an embodied person. I am a mind in a body. And that's most educated, sensitive people think of themselves as minds, as persons. Anyastu charvakaha anyoantaratma manomayaha ityadi shrute manasi supte pranader abhavad aham sankalpavan aham vikalpavan ityadi anubhavacha mana atmeti vadati. So the other Charvaka comes and gives another quotation from the Upanishad. Taittiriya Upanishad is a prime source for these quotations. Taittiriya Upanishad takes you step by step. Body, prana, body is the self. Do you think body is the self? And these opponents will say, see, your Upanishad said body is the self. So mind is the self. And then argument. When the mind sleeps, you are not aware of children, you are not aware of body, you are not aware, not can you use your senses, you are not even aware of the prana, breathing and working. None of them are in your awareness. You stay, for example, as a person in a dream. You continue. The mind continues without any reference to this body, this prana, these indriyas. In a dream, for example, you continue. You have a sense of self there. So, mind constitutes the self. Wherever there is mind, there is self. Also notice, when the mind falls asleep, no self, deep sleep. So the self is the mind. Very good argument. That's the argument. And then experience, vikalpavanaham, sankalpavanaham, mana atma iti vadati. I am happy, I am sad, I remember, I think. You say, I think, in my opinion. I think, I understand, I want, I like, I dislike. This is what we consider intimately I, me, mine. That's mind. So mind is the self. Mana atma iti vadati. Then comes the Buddhist. The first of the Buddhist philosophers is the mind-only school, Vijnanavada. Their name is Yogachara Vijnanavada, mind-only school. Now also you find them they are part of the Tibetan Buddhists, mind-only school. Also Mahayana schools in China and Japan have influence of mind-only school, Vijnanavada. What do they say? Bauddhastu अन्योन्तरात्मा विज्ञानमयः इत्यादि श्रुतेः कर्तुर्भावे कर्तुरभावे करणस्य शक्ति अभावात् अहं कर्ता अहं भोक्ता इत्यादि अनुभवाच्च बुद्धि आत्मा इति वदति. Intellect is the self. The power of cognition, understanding, knowledge, that is the self. According to these Buddhists, it's a series of flashes of cognition. Our true nature, whatever we consider as the subject and whatever we consider as the object, they're all appearing in our mind only. The subject, object, they appears in flash. Each flash of the mind comes for an instant and then disappears. This is called Kshanika Vijnanavada, momentary cognitions. So what am I? What is the self? A series of momentary cognitions, series of flashes of cognition, instants of conscious life. We are this series. Moment to moment, appearing and disappearing, flashing, appearing and disappearing. That kind. That is the Atma, that is the self. And therefore there is no continuous self, because it's just an illusion generated by a series of flashes. They give the example of Alata Chakra, a firebrand. If you whirl it around fast enough, it looks like a circle, continuous circle. It's not a continuous circle, it's one point of light. Maybe a firecracker, which you were whirling, it looks like a circle. Similarly, it's instantaneous flashes of cognition, buddhi, but it gives the sense of one continuous self, one continuous conscious self. They have quoted from an Upanishad, again Taittiriya Upanishad, and they say the activity of the mind is an instrument for the buddhi. An instrument cannot function without the user. This is from the chariot analogy. In the chariot, the body is the chariot, the senses are the horses, the mind is the reins. In the hand of the driver, who is the driver? Buddhi, intellect. So you are the buddhi, you are the intellect. Self is the intellect. And what is your experience? Anubhava. Kartaham, bhoktaham. We did that. Pramata, karta, bhokta. The ego. That is the self. The ego is the self. There's another way of putting it. The ego is the self. Most people think that. Who are you? What do you mean, who are you? I am I. Yeah, I. Who is this I? Well, the one who's talking to you, the one who's looking at you, the one who's sitting here, the one who is enjoying this. Karta, bhokta, pramata. The doer, the knower, the enjoyer, the sufferer, the ego, this person. What's the core of the person? Not body, not mind. It's the intellect. Ego is a function which is associated with intellect. The clarity, the conviction, the idea of what I am, that's in the intellect. Then the two Mimamsaka views. Mimamsaka views, this is one school of orthodox philosophy, one of the 6 schools. Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga, Purva Mimamsa and Vedanta. So this Purva Mimamsaka, they have 2 schools. One is called the Prabhakara school, another one is called the Kumarila Bhatta school. Actually, Prabhakara was a disciple of Kumarila Bhatta. But in their tradition, Prabhakara school is called Guru Matam, is the view of the Guru. And Kumarila Bhatta school is called the Bhatta Matam. There's a story behind that also. Yeah. Once Kumarila Bhatta was teaching and the students were sitting. And there was a text that had to be interpreted and Kumarila Bhatta just couldn't get the head or tail of that. Maybe he wrote it down in a blackboard or they had palm leaf manuscripts. So the text goes like this. Atra tu nauktam tatra api nauktam atah dviruktam. What does it mean? Here it has not been said, there it has not been said, hence it has been said twice. What? They couldn't make head or tail of it. And when Kumarila Bhatta took a break, he went outside and he came back. He found, imagine it's written on the board, Atra, here. Tu na uktam. Here also it is not, but here it is not written. There also it is not written. Tu means but. Na uktam, not written. What he found was, when he came back into the classroom, somebody had put a comma. Atra tuna uktam, tatra apina uktam. Here it has been said starting with but, there it has been said starting with also. Therefore, it has been said twice. If you read it like this, but here it has not been said. There also it has not been said. Therefore it is said twice. It doesn't make sense. But if you say here that thing has been said starting with the word but, there it has been said starting with the word also. Hence said twice. So Kumarila Bhatta said, that's wonderful. This is just a story. You are my guru now, he told Prabhakar. Prabhakar had done it. He must have asked who did it, and everybody must have turned to Prabhakar. Now he's in trouble. Kumarila Bhatta said, no, that's amazing. You are right. And you are my guru, you are my teacher. So that's why Prabhakara school is known as the Guru Matam. Anyway, what's his view? What is the self? Prabhakara tarkikau tu anyuantaratma anandamaya. The Anandamaya Kosh is Atma. What you experience in deep sleep, that is Atma. Ityadi shruter buddhyadi namagyan laya darshanat ahamagyani ityadi anubhavatya ajnanam atmeti vadataha. In deep sleep, blank. What's there? Nothing. That nothing is you. That blankness, that nothing means ignorance. Ignorance is you. Not knowingness. Blankness which I did not know anything. That one is you, because that's the last thing we can reach. That's the argument. What's the experience? I did not know anything in deep sleep. So that did not know is the nature of the self. What is the self? Ignorance. Not any ignorance. It's the ignorance which we find, the primal ignorance in deep sleep. This is not a very edifying nature of the self. Ignorance is the self. Then Bhatta, the other school of Mimamsa. Bhattastu pragyana ghanaivanandamaya ityadi shrutehe sushupto prakasha sadbhavat mamaham na janami ityadi anubhavatya ajnana upahitam chaitanyam atmeti vadati. He says, no, it's not ignorance which is the nature of the self. He gives a quotation from the Mandukya Upanishad. In deep sleep, we are one mass of awareness. And what happens in deep sleep? What is the argument here? In deep sleep, it's not that we are ignorant. Rather, we are we have an experience of ignorance. The experience of ignorance means consciousness plus ignorance. And what is the anubhava? What is the experience? When you wake up, we say that I did not know myself. That's also a kind of experience. Therefore, we must say in deep sleep, the self was in the form of light and darkness, consciousness and ignorance, which is also more careful way of describing our deep sleep experience. Then the last, ninth, we are on the ninth. The ninth opponent is the emptiness school. The emptiness school, which is called the Shunyavada, Madhyamaka Shunyavada, associated with Nagarjuna, Chandrakirti, Buddhapalita, Bhava Viveka, and so on. Great masters. And after that in Tibet, Tsongkhapa and many others. So this emptiness school, what do they say? It says, you are nothing. Aparabaudhaha asadeva idamagra asit ityadi shrutehe sushupto sarva bhavat aham sushupto nasam ityuthitasya swa abhava paramarsha vishayanubhavatya shunyam iti vadati. The emptiness school says the Atman is empty. The self is not there. You don't exist. That's your real nature. Non-existence is your real nature. How? The Upanishad says, He quotes from Chandogya Upanishad. Before the universe was there, verily there was nothing. From nothing indeed, all this has come. Chandogya Upanishad is quoting. But he's not quoting what happens after that. Because the next line is, how can something come out of nothing? Therefore something came out of something. That part he doesn't quote. He quotes, something came out of nothing. So there was nothing in the beginning. Asadeva idamagra asid. Before the universe started, there was nothing. Anyway, but he quotes that. And then, what is the argument? In deep sleep, there is a total absence. There is a total absence. And when we wake up, our reflection back on deep sleep is, in deep sleep, I was not. I did not exist. Nothing existed, I also did not exist. You might say, right now we will say Advaita Vedanta is, no, you existed, you were the witness. And I always say, you're the witness of the absence of experience. It was not, you're the witness of the experience of absence, not the absence of experience. So if it is an experience of absence, then absence is the object, and consciousness illumines the absence. We may say all that. The Shunyavadi will say, this is all back calculation. You have made up your mind, consciousness is continuous. Now, when there is no consciousness, you are fudging the books. You're trying to make the credit and debit balance and say that in deep sleep also there was consciousness. You were conscious of the act. Actually, if you look at your own experience, there was nothing. Deep sleep, coma, general anesthesia, nothing, blank, just isn't there. That is the real nature of the self, empty. Done. So these are the various views. You will notice the way it has been presented, each view cuts down the earlier view. So, now only one view is left, the emptiness view. That Shankaracharya has to cut down. That he will do in the 6th verse. So Shankaracharya does not cut down any of the other 8 views, because each has cut down the other. And this is a technique from his master's master, Gaudapada Acharya. Parasparam viruddhyantete. They have cut each other down. I'll take up the last man standing. In Indian philosophy, this is called Pradhanamalla Nyaya. To become the heavyweight champion, you don't have to defeat all people. Just the one who has come up to the semi-finals. That fellow you have to defeat. Then you become the heavyweight champion. Similarly, the one who has come to the finals, the one person will come to face you. That is the emptiness school. They have won over everybody else. Now they are left, you have to defeat them. And that comes to the 6th verse, which we will, should we? Okay, let's do it now. And then we can have a relaxed time after defeating, because I don't want to leave you as empty. Just by the way, often in Vedantic and Nyaya, in these debates, the final school they often debate with is the Buddhist school of emptiness. Because they are the sharpest logicians, the most sophisticated system of logic, the most sophisticated dialectic. So let's just read the 6th verse. This is Shankaracharya's reply to the last man standing, the heavyweight contender, which is the emptiness school. Just by the way, before we go into this, in many Advaitic texts you will find the last school is the emptiness school, and to deal with it. Sometimes it's done humorously. In Panchadashi, Vidyaranya Swami says, one of the arguments he gives is, according to the emptiness school, the self is non-existent. It is void. It is nihil. It does not exist. Therefore, my honorable opponent does not exist and need not reply to you. So I have won. Yay! But that is sort of half serious only. What does the emptiness school really say? Nagarjuna says, Nagarjuna is a Vaitandin, the Vitanda school, Vitanda approach to debate. Vitanda means, I have nothing to say, but I'll cut down whatever you say. Whatever you say, I'll cut it down. Shunyata sarvadrishtinam. All philosophies are empty. All philosophical views. Drishti means philosophical view. Whatever is a philosophical view, it's empty. Shunyata sarvadrishtinam. And I'll prove it. Somebody asked him that that's also a view. Emptiness school, you say, Madhyamaka, the middle path, the middle school. That's also a view. Then that is also empty. Your school, your view is also empty. But then Nagarjuna says, if I had a thesis, you could prove me wrong. But as I have no thesis, you can't prove me wrong. I have nothing to say. And I will not do anything until you speak. Then I'll cut you down. How you will cut me down? So it is called Chatushkoti Vinirmukta Tattvam. That it's called a tetralemma. Nagarjuna's favorite method of engaging with debate. 4 options are there. For example, self. Self exists. Nagarjuna says, not that the self exists. Na asti. Then you say that, so the self doesn't exist. That's what you mean to say. Self doesn't exist. Not that the self doesn't exist. Oh, you mean the self exists and does not exist. He says, not that the self exists and does not exist. So you mean to say that neither the self exists nor does the self not exist. He says, not even that. Na asti, na nasti, na asti cha nasti cha, na nasti, na nasti. It's a denial of the positive thesis, it's a denial of the negative thesis, it's a denial of the conjunction, it's a denial of the exclusion, that is or, if you put or. 4 negations. Chatushkoti vinirmukta tattvam. Now, so the self, the thing is, the Advaitins and all the Hindu schools and other Buddhist schools also took it to mean that they are saying self doesn't exist. But if you actually go to the original text of Nagarjuna, I have read Moola Madhyamaka Karika. It says, if you think we are nihilists, we say that nothing exists, you do us a gross injustice. We don't mean that. See, when you say self does not exist, abhava, emptiness, Nagarjuna specifically denies that. It's not even that. Anyway, we'll take that up later, but first let's see what Shankara says here. Rahu grasta divakarendu sadrisho maya samachyadanat sanmatra karana upasangharanato yo bhut sushupta puman pragaswapsamiti prabodha samaye yah pratyabhigyayate tasmai shri gurumurtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurti. To the Atman who, going to the Sushupti on the withdrawal of sense organs, becomes the one existence, enshrouded by Maya like unto the sun or the moon in eclipse, and whose then existence is recognized on waking in the consciousness, I have slept till now. To him who is incarnate in the Guru, to him in the effulgent form facing the south, to him, Shiva, be this salutation. All right. What he's saying is, what is the argument of the Shunyavadi, emptiness school? In deep sleep, you go and you find nothing. So your sense of self, so-called consciousness, everything is extinguished there. Self does not exist. Now he counters that. He says, I have to give a different account of deep sleep. Now you will see what he does. Remember our bhanam, anubhanam, shining and then shining afterwards. Shining is pure consciousness is shining. Then this pure consciousness alone being reflected in the vritti in the mind illumines the objects. It illumines the mind, it illumines the body, senses, and then you have experiences outside. But suppose the body goes to sleep and sense organs are not functioning. Then you can't contact objects outside. Then suppose the mind also shuts down in deep sleep. Then there will not be any vrittis because you are not contacting anything outside. Nothing is coming up from within the mind, memories and desires. No vrittis. If there are no vrittis, then the reflected consciousness also will not be there. Then the anubhanam will stop. Bhanam, shining. Anubhanam, shining afterwards. What is shining afterwards? This one. It's like the light is coming from the sun, but I have withdrawn the tiffin box. Then the room will be plunged into darkness. The tiffin box also will not shine. It's like eclipse. So the moon moves between the sun and the earth, and the earth passes into the shadow of the moon. Now, everything is dark. There is no anubhanam. There is no posterior shining, no shining of the mind and the senses and the body. There is no experience of the sense janami. He says in the 4th verse, janami, I know. No longer. Even I do not know. That experience is also not there. But what has happened? Shankaracharya says, the shining continues. The light, as it were, it remains as pure consciousness. There is no further reflection. There is no further experience. He quotes from the Upanishad, he points to the Upanishad. Chandogya Upanishad says, in deep sleep, sata sampanno bhavati. The individual being has become merged in pure being, pure existence itself. Just existence, without any manifestation. It's like the sunlight, new moon day, night, new moon night. Sky is actually full of sunlight, but the earth is dark, sky is also dark. It's like the lake at night. The lake is there. Lake did not disappear. But you can't see the reflection of the forest, you can't see the lake also. When the anubhanam is not there, then the world is not seen, but the sense of self inside, I am the knower, that also is not there. Subject and object disappear together. Not into nothingness, into isness. But that isness is not manifest. Otherwise you will have if it's nothingness, you'll have the strange thing of every time you fall asleep, you're gone. And every time you wake up, you pop back into existence. How many times then you're gone and you're popping back into existence? Vedanta says, no, you are there. And when these instruments start functioning, you just get reflected there, and then you have a sense of, I am, and I know. I am here, and I know the teacup. That's what's happening. He gives the example of Rahu. So, as children, the Indian idea of the story about the eclipse, Indian astronomers knew what is eclipse. But the way they put it, the students, as kids, we used to hear, eclipse, lunar eclipse. Rahu, the demon, is coming to swallow up the moon. Rahu, the demon, is coming to swallow up the sun. But Rahu, basically, the astronomers knew, it means a shadow. Chaya, shadow. It's the shadow of the moon falling on the earth. It's the shadow of the earth falling on the moon, because the earth has come between the sun and the moon. The moon passes into darkness then, lunar eclipse. But as kids, the story was, the demon Rahu is coming to swallow up the sun and the moon. But luckily, we are also told, Rahu is only a head. There is no body. Vishnu has cut off the body of Rahu so that the sun and the moon will be saved. The demon comes and swallows up the moon, and from the neck, the moon comes out again. And you can show the child, see, it's coming out. It's a dark shadow. The terrible demon is coming to swallow up the moon. Oh no. But wait a minute. In a few minutes, the moon will again emerge from the neck of the demon. It's a shadow. Similarly, Maya Samachchadanat. Maya has two powers, Vikshepa Shakti, Avarana Shakti. It hides the real nature of Brahman until your Brahmakara Vritti will come. It hides the real nature of Brahman. And then it projects. It projects the world. It projects Brahman as the world, the rope as the serpent. In deep sleep, what happens? The Avarana Shakti, the veiling power of Maya, Achadana, covers everything. Even the projecting power of Maya is not evident. Instruments which are used for experiencing the world, they all shut down. Therefore, all that we know is the veiling power of Maya. It's like the Rahu, it's like the shadow. I do not know Brahman, I do not know the world. But what do I remain as? As Brahman, which I always was, but covered by the veiling power of Maya. Rahu's Maya Samachchadana, by the veiling power of Maya, I am covered. Brahman is covered. Not that nothing exists. Not that we are nothing. We are infinite. The thing is, the limitless, pure existence and pure non-existence, they seem the same. If the lake at night, if the lake did not exist, and if the lake existed, if you looked out, it would look like the same. If it was just an empty pit in darkness, it looked like dark. And if it's full of water, which it is, it would still look dark. Deep sleep, it is limitless existence. It looks like non-existence. At night, look out into space, it looks like no light is there. It's full of light. Just that nothing to reflect that light is there. If the moon is not there, if satellites are not there, nothing to reflect that light is there. It just looks like dark night. But it is full of light streaming from the sun. So darkness and light, they look like the same thing. It's only when you get a reflector, then you will see the difference. So only when the mind kicks into action, waking and dreaming, then only you will see existence and consciousness becoming manifest. Pre-existing existence and consciousness becoming manifest when the mind kicks into existence, into action. This is Shankaracharya's reply. We have run out of time, but anyway, there's lunch now, right? 12:15. Just one line I'll add. This may not be entirely fair to the Buddhists. If you probe deeper into Madhyamaka Buddhism, there are schools of Tibetan Buddhism which seem just like a mirror image of Advaita Vedanta. They will talk about the emptiness pervaded by luminosity, the clear light of the void, which sounds like existence consciousness. And that's our real nature. They'll talk about the primordial ground of being. They'll talk about the luminosity, empty luminosity. It's just that the approach is different. One crucial difference I'll point out, one Pandit has pointed this out, very nice, it's simple difference. This is Sanskrit grammar. Advaita, non-dual, means not two. This Advaita word can have two meanings. It's subtly different but makes for huge difference philosophically. Two meanings. Non-dual, Advaita means one meaning, absence of duality. There is no duality. Second meaning, that reality which is non-dual. First meaning, no duality. Advaita, non-dual, no duality. Second meaning, that reality which is non-dual, in which there is no duality. It's the second meaning which is Advaita Vedanta. The first meaning is Shunyavada. Why? Because Shunyavadis also claim that we are non-dualists. We are Advaitins. Advayavada, Nagarjuna says. We are non-dualists. And Advaitins also claim we are non-dualists. But we are non-dualist in the sense of Brahman being non-dualist, non-dual. There is one existence, one reality which is non-dual. There is no second reality apart from that reality. And Shunyavada, precisely, if you want the precise meaning of Shunyavada, it is empty of all duality. What is empty of all duality? Don't ask. Okay. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.